Terrific good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we extend to you of all our deep appreciation in allowing this communication to occur in this way. Once again, each and every time your civilization allows this communicative link to be created between our respective worlds, it affords us an opportunity to experience an expansion of creation by being allowed to interact with each and every one of you and the unique perspective of the infinite that each and every one of you represents. So we thank you for this expansive gift of sharing. And we would like to begin this transmission this day of your time with the following idea that we would like to call respecting your choices. We have, over the time that we have been communicating with your world, listened to many of you talking about the choices that you have made in certain circumstances that bring about certain kinds of consequences. And we hear from time to time many of you bemoaning the choices that you have made, bemoaning the consequences that arise from those choices. In the following manner, usually, oh, I've made a bad choice. Now I have something I don't want. This is wrong. This is bad. This is not going to get me where I want to be. And so on, and other variations of that idea and that theme. But please understand that when you do not respect the choices that you make, no matter what they are, then you are not respecting yourself. For the choices are intimately bonded to who you are at that moment, and are the result of who you know yourself to be at that moment. They are at that moment, for all intents and purposes, the best that you can do, the best that you know how to choose, and thus you must respect them if you are to respect yourself. And by disrespecting the choices that you make, by assuming that the choices that you make are bad or wrong, then you are in some sense judging yourself, finding yourself lacking, coming up short, being yourself bad or wrong, and not giving yourself the due respect that would allow you to understand how to extract from the consequences of any choice the information and the experience that you need in order to create what it is you prefer. Now again, let me remind you, let us listen to that word, prefer. You can recognize that the consequence of a particular choice may not be what you prefer. But that doesn't mean the choice and the consequence was bad or wrong, just because it may not have resulted in what you prefer. The idea, again, is that when many of you talk about certain choices and their consequences being bad or wrong, and thus are disrespecting yourself, you are also making the assumption that the circumstance that has resulted from the choice you have made is somehow incapable of connecting you to what you want, and this is not true. Every single choice you make and every single consequence that results from that choice has equal capability with any other choice and consequence of still connecting you to what you prefer. But you will not see that it does. You will not experience that it has the ability to make that bridge for you to what you prefer if you devalue it and disrespect it in the way that many of you have been taught to do. Again, this simply comes down to, once again, that if you are not of the vibration, you will not see the things that are germane to the reality that goes hand in hand with that vibrational frequency. So when you devalue a choice that you have made, when you disrespect it, when you say it is no good, then you are actually robbing yourself, in a sense, of the ability to see how that choice might contain the doorway, the link, the bridge to what it is you do prefer. You are simply removing its value to you and saying that it has absolutely no capacity whatsoever to open up a doorway in the direction that you prefer. But all choices are connected to all other choices. All consequences, all circumstances, and all situations are connected to all others. Why? We have talked about this many times. The answer is because all circumstances are here and now. There is no such thing as, in a sense, over there or back then. Those are illusions of your physical reality. They are as real as you want to put stock in them to be. But the idea really is that all situations are the same situation from a different point of view. Remember, many of you, when you see someone else that you deem to be having what you prefer, deemed to be successful, they have their own doorway that they have walked through in order to manifest what they have manifested as a result of the choices they have made. And many of you assume that what you want is their doorway. But you don't want their doorway. You want your doorway. Because only by walking through your doorway, the one patterned after you with your name on it, will you be capable of then creating or attracting or manifesting your version of that so-called success, your version of that so-called manifestation. If you attempt to use their doorway, it will not work because their doorway is tailored to them. Now, here again is the secret. Their doorway and your doorway are the same doorway. The same doorway, not the same kind of doorway, the same doorway. But yours is seen from your angle, from your perspective. It has your quality, it has your reflection, it has your characteristics. And the same doorway for them, for the other person, simply reflects their characteristics. It is not a different doorway. You have the same doorway to walk through, the same avenues of opportunity, the same conduit as everyone and anyone in creation. But it's not going to appear to be the same because it's going to be colored with your reflection so that it will work for you. You don't want theirs. You want yours. You want to understand who you are. You want to respect yourself so that you can see who you are in the doorway, so that you can allow the doorway, the mirror of reality, to show you who you are. If you disrespect yourself, you devalue your doorway. You do not see the reflection that is there for you. You do not see how to use it. You cannot understand how to walk through it in the same way that someone else understands how to walk through their version of it. And you cannot then reap the manifestation that comes from walking through and going to the other side of it. So please, as a strong suggestion, do not devalue and disrespect yourself by disrespecting the choices that you make and the consequences that result therefrom. Learn and understand that every choice is connected to every other, that every circumstance is connected to every other, and every circumstance, if you choose to look at it without judgment, but with acceptance, acknowledgement, allowance, and love, and creativity, and imagination, and inspiration, will be capable, in its own way, yes, but in its own way, will be capable of showing you how it contains all the same opportunities to connect and manifest to anything else you want, even though it may take a certain colorization, a certain characterization. Just because it's coming from that perspective doesn't matter, doesn't mean that it can't do it. You have to learn to accept it so that you can learn to read its particular characteristics and symbols. But every situation is connected to every other and has the ability and has the capability of bringing to your attention the appropriate information to allow you to connect, to allow you to slide, to allow you to shift to any other and every other kind of situation that you may prefer to manifest. And if you start looking at every situation that way, you will see how they are all one and the same, but simply look different because they are nothing more than a different perspective, angle, or point of view of the same one thing. Because again, remember, there is only here, there is only now, there is only one moment. And in that one moment, that is the eternal existence, all things happen. Therefore, all things are all other things in a different disguise, from a different perspective, from a different point of view. There is only one creation. But it looks different from every angle you can look. Know that there is one, act like there is one, don't devalue any manifestation of it, and you will see how any manifestation connects you to any other manifestation, because all are the same thing. Does that make sense? All right. We thank you for allowing us to share this perspective. We know it will work if you choose to adopt it into your reality and adapt it to your personal needs. You don't have to take our word for it. You can get the result if you utilize this tool, if you utilize this attitude and perception. This is not philosophy, remember now. This is physics. This is the way the reality creation works. You can use it. You can get the same result as anyone. We do not insist that you use it. We are not telling you what to do. We have our own lives to live. We do not want to live yours, but we are strongly suggesting that if this is what you have asked for in terms of what can I use, what tool, what perspective can I understand so that I can treat myself with respect in the moment and live in the moment and experience my reality as a manifestation of the moment, this is one of the tools that can work for you if you take it to heart and apply it in your behavior day by day, every moment of your life. It's up to you to find out, but I guarantee if you use it, it will work. But it's up to you. Now, once again, in return for allowing our civilization the great gift of this sharing with your civilization, I ask in return, in what way may I and my world be of service to you? You. Good day.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day.
Daryl read a dream that I had
Yes.
last Wednesday.
Yes.
And I thought that maybe this was about me rather conferring with you about my decision to take that channeling class with Sean. Did that have...
That is some of it.
Some of it.
What is your hesitation?
See if I'm right.
To see if you're right.
Right. Uh-oh.
Is this not what we were just talking about?
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't really ultimately matter. The idea is that it may or may not be what you prefer, but when you make a decision and you make a choice and you receive the consequences therefrom when you take action on it, don't judge it in that sense. Don't disrespect it and disrespect yourself. Simply act according to what the consequences are and decide whether the consequences are what you prefer and make decisions from that point accordingly. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's as simple as that. There's no mystery to this. I want you all to understand something very, 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 very critical. You all know what you're doing. You all know how to manifest reality. You all do it all the time. In that sense, there are no secrets. You all know how to do it. We're not telling you anything new. You all know what you're doing. Sometimes, for some reason, usually of your own invention, you sometimes play the game of pretending that you don't know what you're doing. But I tell you the big secret right now, you all know what you're doing. You all know what you're doing. You all make choices. Everything you do is the result of a choice. The idea of how you respond and or react, the idea of what you attract yourself to and what you in a sense repel yourself from, all of this has to do with the choices you make about who and what you are. So in that sense, you all know what you're doing. There's no mystery. There's no secret. If you start behaving as if you do know what you're doing, then you will start respecting the choices that you make as being all right, no matter what they are. No matter what they are, that will be all right. For you will learn from it to decide whether or not it shows you that you do prefer this or that you don't prefer this. But in knowing the preference, you will then again act accordingly and clarify yourself. Now then, the idea of your dream is for you the idea of confirmation of your own decisions, getting a reflection, and allowing you to understand that you are becoming more and more integrated and more capable of being aware that you are creating your reality and that you don't necessarily need a lot of assistance to make these decisions anymore. You follow? The sixth glass, the unused glass, out of the idea of 6 glasses, being that only one is left unused, is simply to show you that you are moving in a direction that may be new for you, but that it is still yet a glass. And just as you learn to drink from the other 5, you will learn to drink from this one. It will refresh you. It will carry refreshment. It will carry liquid that will sustain you if you will trust yourself. That's what you are telling yourself. Yes, it's new. Yes, it hasn't been used. Yes, it's a new experience. But nevertheless, it is another glass. You have learned how to use 5 others. You learned how to drink from 5 other ones. And you find now that you want to drink out of a new one, but it's still a glass. It still serves the same function. It still functions in the same way. And in that sense, there is no mystery. Only what you will put in it, only what you will drink from it is the mystery. But the mystery in that sense is what you want to have. because it is within the mystery that you will discover yourself. And that's exciting, and that's creative, and that's inspirational. You don't, in that sense, ever want to lose mystery.
It is exciting.
Yes, and that is the fundamental meaning behind what you are telling yourself in your dream. Also, in seeing what you call a version of me in your dream and a version of the channel in your dream, the idea is that you recognize that there is a differentiation, but at the same time you recognize that they are one and the same. And this has to do with you as well. What you all consider to be your future selves, your higher selves, your ideal selves, you still consider to be somewhat different from the selves you think of yourself as on a day-to-day basis, and yet now more of you every day are beginning to see that there really doesn't have to be a difference, that you really are your own future self, your own higher self, if you want to be. And there doesn't have to be so much difference between the you have considered yourself to be for so long and the so-called ideal you. It is now becoming more of the same you. Day by day, minute by minute, there is less differentiation, if you are willing for there to be. Make sense? And your dream is showing you that you are willing. You are willing to take on more of yourself, be more of yourself, express more of yourself. Make sense?
Yes.
And dream yourself into the reality you prefer. Does it help you?
Yes, a lot.
Anything else?
Well, since last week in particular, starting I guess on Friday,
All right.
everything has been in change.
Yes.
Everything.
Are you surprised
And
by
I'm a
this?
little psychotic, and a little neurotic, and
all right.
all the. I mean, I just
You can be as otic
Cuckoo.
as you wish to be.
just cuckoo.
Yes, cuckootic, all right. But that is exotic. It is time for you to learn how exotic you are. It is time for you to understand that you are literally having a breakdown from old structures, breaking them asunder now, more every day, faster. This is the shift. This is the acceleration we were talking about not that long ago. You are going to know that you are creating, all of you, your own, as you say, roller coaster rides. But this is what you want.
It is what I want.
Yes. So enjoy it. It's all right. Sort of fun. All right. Well, again, I give you this double wish.
Yes.
You will get used to it, and I also wish that you never get used to it. That is the best thing I can grant to you. Do you understand? This is what is called making a friend of the unknown.
Yes.
That you are always surprised, but at the same time you expect to be.
Right.
And yet it never becomes boring for you. That you are always taken by surprise, but that's what you expect.
I like that.
Because that's how you learn who you are. Right. That's the majesty and the miracle of creation within you. Make sense?
Yes.
So that is the double wish that we all have for all of you. That you get used to the idea of being surprised, and at the same time it always takes you unexpectedly. That is when you live in the moment. That is when you are in balance. That is when you are in the now. That is when you are in the Tao.
Yes. Yes. Very appropriate.
Is that helping?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, good day.
During the last session, I got from you telepathically that I wasn't going to get a turn because my answer came in the monologue. Did
And
I
see
get
how
that
psychic you
accurately?
are.
Okay. I had some interesting visions while doing a tape which wasn't quite a meditation called The Far Reaches, which is a Monroe tape. But this particular tape wasn't an out-of-body tape, but I did do it in a focus level.
All right, if you say so.
And I got seeing all things from all angles. I got higher dimensional geometry,
all right,
which I was able to depict.
All right. Was it fun?
Yes, this was very fun.
All right.
And it happened on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, and I could not figure out why it happened and why I couldn't get to sleep, because I've done that tape probably a half a dozen times before.
So, what has that got to do with anything? Why do you make that comparison, as if that had any meaning to it?
Oh, I don't know. I was just curious if you thought it did.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Remember, as we have said, there really is no such thing in that sense as attrition. In other words, it really doesn't matter how many times you've done it before. The time that it changes is when you decide will be the time that it changes. All the times you do it before don't really act as the reason why something would then finally change, except in that all the times before go hand in hand with how much time you believe is necessary before you are simply willing to make the change. You follow?
Yeah. I was seeing all kinds of, everything that had ever existed in a certain area of land. I was seeing it like in a square box, from dinosaurs to birds to dirt to trees. Everything, bones.
Everything is holographically here right now. Everything, everywhere, every when is in every possible space simultaneously. And more of you are developing the ability to perceive reality that way. Not that you have to perceive it that way all the time, but the idea is that you can dip into that perspective and then you can bring back that perspective and its side effects to apply in whatever way seems practical and pragmatic in your day-to-day existence in linear reality. Yes. Mm-hmm. But those barriers, in a sense, that you have created are breaking down, allowing more and more of you an opportunity to experience the holographic reality of everything at once. Yes.
I wonder if it had anything to do with the exercises we've been doing in channeling class, which the channel had recommended that I take.
I already told you that it does and it doesn't.
Okay.
It has everything to do with it only in the sense that that is the process that you have decided will allow you to grant yourself permission to allow things to change. It has to do with it insofar as it allows you to do that. But the exercises themselves don't really create the change. They simply give you the space to finally give yourself permission to create the change, and only in that direction and only in that amount does it have anything to do with the change you experience. Do you follow that?
Yes.
All right.
And I was curious, will you, when I'm ready to actually start channeling verbally, will you work with me?
No.
Any particular reason?
Yes. I am working with you now.
I mean, work with me.
I know what you meant. I am working with you now.
Okay.
And this will be sufficient.
And
the idea is, again, to remember this. Our collective energy is available to you all, always. And to that degree, we will work with you. But it will not be a specifically focused, directed, intentional idea through myself personally. Do you follow that?
Yes, and then that raises another question.
Oh, all right.
The one that I wanted to ask 2 weeks ago.
Which was?
Which was, I experienced a communication which was very helpful, and which I experienced as coming from Bashar to me telepathically.
Yes.
A week ago Monday, or
yes.
2 weeks ago Monday.
Yes.
And was I again just tapping into the collective? It seemed so individual, and your monologue.
All right, one more time. I don't mind.
Okay.
One more time. Please be aware of the human, I will call it habit, but it is a learning. Be aware once again of the human habit or choice to constantly want to put things in a this or that scenario or framework. Was it this or was it that? It is this and that. So the idea again is, because all things being holographic, when you respond to the vibrational frequency that we give off that represents our level of existence, when you match that frequency, that is what is meant by respond to it, when you match that frequency, you will then appear to receive information that appears to flow from us to you. But what is actually mechanically happening is that because you have taken yourself, because you are willing to match our frequency, what you're actually doing in that moment is becoming your version of us, using us as a guiding symbol to match that frequency, and thus giving yourself, creating for yourself the information you need, but you are using our symbol to represent the idea that you have been willing to arrive at our level of frequency. So in a sense it is both coming from us and coming from you simultaneously, because in that moment you and us are one single event. That is the information itself in that moment that you become aware of. And in that instant of informational awareness, we are an undifferentiated single event that no longer needs to contain the differentiation of you and I. Did you follow that?
Believe it or not, absolutely,
I believe
positively,
it.
100%.
I believe it. Thank you.
Because that's pretty much what I had gotten.
There you go.
Okay. And one last thing.
Yes.
Is there anything you can share with us on the Mars rover and what, or if any malfunctions or any discoveries that it's made that is not being forthcoming publicly?
There is nothing at this time that it is found that anyone in your government would find a reason to hide. As we already have said, because of their fear to explore certain areas, because of what they feared they might find, they chose a relatively innocuous area to explore, and therefore in that sense, at this point, there's not much of anything surprising for them to find, aside from the idea of the geological knowledge. In that sense, there is nothing that they have to hide, because they have gone to what they consider a relatively safe place of exploration.
So it hasn't actually gone anywhere outside of the area that they have publicly declared that it was going?
Nope.
And what about, is there anything underneath it, possibly a nuclear power plant that's Earth-based technology?
Underneath it?
Yes.
Do you mean buried in the Martian soil?
Yes, in a cavernous area under the surface of Mars.
No. Thank you.
No, thank you.
You, good day, then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? The male. Female, number 3, do you know who you are? All right, number 1, good day.
Good day, Bashar. This is so exciting, Bashar.
If you say so.
I feel so much energy running through my body.
Oh, I will thank you for feeling your own energy that way.
It's amazing. And
You are.
thank you.
Well, I had nothing to do with it,
I know.
but you're welcome.
I feel like that dream that I had months ago where I was channeling my future as a sunny self to April.
Oh, all right. Does that mean you are experiencing a deja vu?
Maybe.
Maybe. Of a type, perhaps?
Yeah.
All right.
Of a kind.
Of a
So
kind?
exciting.
Oh, all right.
I did my writing, the 3 feet, and I'd like to read it.
By all means.
Okay, 3 feet from the edge.
3 feet from the edge. That's the title. Now proceed.
As I sit here on this bench, every cell in my body is jumping. Are they taking the leap I feel is imminent while sitting here? If I am well balanced on this bench, why do I feel that I will fall? And if I fall, where will I land? Will I be the fool who steps off the edge with his back to the sun and his loyal dog watching? In the tarot, the fool is one of the most important cards, for it is the one from which all others stem. It is the first card. Life is lived after belief. I chose that card just 1 month ago. There is obvious symbolism here of the very basic kind, but we are told that symbolism does not end there. It is real, literally true. So I am 3 feet away from a jump. I know this. I know the vortex brings that to me very clearly. Like April, I am also tempted to wander in the moonlit darkness, yet I'd much rather be inside in the warm and cozy cottage sleeping. April knows this and does not make me feel I must join her out there. Is this a matter of trusting my body, my balance? Why would I fall over the edge if I'm a whole 3 feet away? That doesn't make any sense. I prefer safety so much over risk. I've never been a risk taker until recently, that is. Just the other night on a whim, I swam in the moonlight with a friend. The beach was closed. It was very dark outside, yet we climbed over the gate, dropped our clothes, and greeted the Pacific. I was really on my way to get some dessert, so I thought, when I was overcome with this very uncharacteristic idea. I tried to drive to the store, but I kept stopping, and finally turned around to grab a towel. I recognized the adventurer in me. I have known her before. I used to windsurf by myself in the open ocean. I have dived to 110 feet in the Caribbean. We did not know that a hammerhead shark was sighted and caught nearby. When told to jump off a 25-foot pier late at night with flashlight in hand, I jumped. even though all I could see underneath were the beams of light dancing together. It was the most exciting dive I've ever had. She is back, this adventure, and my blood is circulating again. We'll put her to sleep. Laziness, fear, she slipped into the shadows. I just forgot. Was it my work with witch memories that revived her? I once was wise and adventurous, truly free, and then we were killed for it. The families were destroyed, and bonds were broken. But now it is time to fully re-emerge, to awaken totally, and breathe the new air. We are safe now to awaken. Actually, if we do not awaken, then we shall die. A spirit who is not free is dead. So here I am, now at the cliff's edge, once more. I welcome it. It has been missed. Is this blind faith or a leap of faith? Only the fool holds that answer. Like the fool, I choose to jump into life totally and completely, to experience what is possible. When you see the edge, you see that there are more possibilities ahead. I have missed and longed for the edge. That is my excitement, to learn what I'm capable of doing, of creating, of being, to fulfill my potential, which is infinite, to swim in the sea and soar in the sky. I am jumping into the unknown. I am exhilarated. I am refreshed.
We thank you. Our love to you. And now, because of your willingness to release and use the self-created exercise in which to allow yourself to release those things you are holding on to that you allowed to hold you back from being more of yourself, you now will find that you must retitle this 2 feet from the edge. Congratulations for inching forward, closer to the edge. We will see what happens in the next exciting installment.
Thank you. My love to you also.
I love you as well. Number 2. Good day.
Good day to you. I have a question on the Greys.
Greys.
Yes. We have heard recently that they were very helpful in Montserrat and the volcanic eruption down there in evacuating people as needed. And we have...
Do you mean physiologically?
Yes.
No.
Right. No. Okay.
There were energetic adjustments made to allow individuals more opportunity to make certain decisions, certain choices that would then fall into place and into line with the life paths they had chosen, but nothing in that sense was actually done physiologically, no.
Mm-hmm. But lately it's come to me that there's going to be some kind of a huge volcanic eruption.
This is a probability, not an absolute.
Okay.
Remember that all things now are in flux with regard to how such shifts are manifested.
Okay, I hear that I'm given that it's going to be in the population center, and this time that there would have to be some kind of a physical evacuation.
No, not from any participation of what you would call extraterrestrial intervention.
Okay, very good.
Remember, even more than ever, we now all must maintain a hands-off policy. An infinite amount of energy is always available from all of us to all of you, no matter what the species, no matter what the agenda, for a variety of reasons and purposes and applications. But now more than ever, it is important for a physiological hands-off policy, because you must be allowed to stretch toward our level. We cannot bring you there. You must stretch and meet us at whatever point represents the halfway mark for whatever relationship you may create with whatever species that relationship may be with. But the paradox is that the more hands-off we are right now, the more we appear to pull back, the more you may choose to stretch out toward us which will eventually allow there to be more contact. But the time for that kind of physical contact has not arrived.
But had it arrived, would...
Do you mean hypothetically?
Hypothetically, yes. Would then the Greys be capable of a mass evacuation?
They are capable of such a thing, but the point we are making is that had the point of the kind of contact we are talking about arrived, no such evacuation would be necessary. Does that make sense to you?
Not quite.
Had your world shifted into the kind of energy state that we are talking about, no such manifestation would occur, thus making it necessary for that kind of evacuation. For you yourselves would allow your world to transform in a manner that would not bring about the need for catastrophic experience. Do you follow that?
Yes.
Does that help you then?
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3. And to you, good day.
Hi, Bashar. I desire information relating to the hybrid children.
Oh, all right.
And what is my connection to that, if you can give me information.
But you know what your connection is, at
Okay.
least on certain levels.
I believe that I'm a hybrid mother,
Yes.
and I would like information as to how to connect energetically to those beings. And
How to high bridge?
yes, how to hybrid.
All
I like
right.
this. I'm feeling a desire to connect energetically and to be of service on that level.
Then I ask you a question,
Yes.
if I may.
Yes.
And here is what your people often call the $64,000 question. Though, of course, it can be any amount you wish. Why? First, are you paying attention?
Yes, I am.
Deeply.
Hmm.
All right. We'll see. Why, if I may be so bold as to ask, why is the desire to make a bridge not enough for you to feel that a bridge has been established in the way that it needs to? Why, to ask the question in another way, do you feel that something beyond the desire is necessary to create the link and to bring you the information you need to show you what you need to do to represent the link that is created with the desire? Why?
On a high level, I feel I'm an ambassador between worlds and
All of
bridging.
you are.
Right. And I'm...
But that doesn't answer the question specifically.
Well, as an ambassador, I choose to bring understanding forth in this reality
Yes.
of the other beings that are there also coexisting.
In what way do you feel this needs to be done in particular?
The need to unify.
Yes, but in what way do you feel is your way of expressing that knowledge and awareness of the unification? How do you feel you want to express this idea in your behavior, in your actions? How?
Well, I would be the essence of unity.
What does that mean? The essence of unity. You are the essence of unity, but how in your physical reality would you behave that would allow people to understand that you are the essence of unity?
Total acceptance.
Of?
All that is.
Meaning?
That it's all perfect as it is.
And that would alter your behavior from what it is in what particular way, pray tell? If it would alter it at all, would it? Would it change anything that you're doing?
No.
Not a thing. You wouldn't do anything differently at all.
Well, obviously there's a sense of separation, so that's obviously the illusion.
A sense of separation, all right. That is why I asked you, why is the desire itself to form a link not enough to let you know that a link is formed?
True.
You follow that logic?
Yes.
Is the desire then that you have that feeling, is the fact that you have that feeling enough to let you know that the feeling itself tells you that a link has been established?
Not so much the link that I'm concerned about. It's more of
What?
the expression of connecting energetically and receiving and feeling that connection on the other level.
All right, well again, that's what I asked you after that. What is the methodology, or by what method, or by what way would you then believe, what would you have to see to believe that such a link has been established and is being expressed?
I I would like to have that connection felt or seen on some level within this reality.
Meaning?
Meaning to visually see those beings or to feel that connection.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I have nothing to do with it.
Well, you made it clear that it's simply a choice.
It is just a choice. At the same time, you do also have to respect that it is an issue of timing for all concerned as well. Do you follow?
Okay.
Both you and the hybrids. For there is a timing to this idea. But I tell you, it is as simple as this. If you want that interaction, all you have to do is put it out there, in a sense, ask for it. If you find that there is not the immediate physical manifestation of that, then trust that there is a reason for that, and trust that what you have gotten is the best manifestation that is capable of occurring at that time relative to where you are and relative to the timing of what is best for all concerned. Did you follow that?
Yes.
Because there is a reason for the timing in terms of your society's ability to absorb what it means to be face to face with the idea of the hybrids. Because again, we were talking about the idea of psychotic shock before.
Right.
Many individuals, when put face to face at this time, whether they think it would happen or not, would actually go into psychotic breakdown.
So given the collective energetic status, do you feel that's imminent in the near year, 2, 3? Given the collective energy now.
Imminent, if that is the word you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps when you experience it, you might find it has eminence.
Mm-hmm.
And we find it would probably be more likely to begin to occur physiologically sometime in and around or after your year of 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely. This is the most likely manifestational probability window when there might be enough critical mass in the collective consciousness to allow such things to begin to occur. But don't pin me down to a date.
Okay.
Those things are in always fluctuation. It's based on a reading of the collective consciousness energy on your planet as it stands now.
Correct.
But that seems to have a lot of momentum behind it. Between what you call your 2005 and 2007 is another very strong accelerative energy gate window wherein many things will be revealed that have heretofore been hidden. And the idea, of course, is that if you wish an outside edge to that window, most of you know it already, between your years of 2011 and 2013, many of the things that we are discussing and that you are talking about will probably by that time be known to the majority of the people on your planet. Do you follow?
Yes.
So in that sense, not so far away.
Mm-hmm.
But the acceleration of that timing is really up to all of you, both individually and collectively. And of course,
level officials, because I know that there's the players are really sort of a global elite secrecy type scene. But are there any people that are under mind control that are in those positions?
yes.
And do we have any replicates, sort of like cloned, mind-controlled entities in high levels of non-government, government, shadow government positions?
No.
We don't. Was Marilyn Monroe a mind control victim?
No.
Let me ask you, we talked about Alpha Deo
Yes.
in terms of him basically exiling himself from the reptilian agenda.
Yes.
And then you said that the reptilian agenda is basically the gray agenda.
Basically.
Okay, because I'm assuming that there are many factions and many people in charge in different areas with different agendas.
Yes.
But generally, what was the agenda that Alpha Deo left or exiled himself from?
The idea of the creation of hybrids from your society and their society, the Greys, in order to perpetuate their species.
He is not in agreement with that?
Not any longer.
But he is with you. Is there a part of your particular species that is not in agreement with this going on right now?
Many of the methodologies that have been utilized are not within the scope of the vibration of what we would call our preference of integrity.
Really?
Yes.
So it's really not out of the question for us to have felt at some point very disturbed by these experiences.
No, it is not out of the question.
And is some of the objection on your part due to the pain?
We object to nothing.
Well,
we recognize what is and is not our preferential frequency.
And why is it not preferential to you?
Certain aspects may contain the idea of what you would interpret as force against will.
And so not all are pre-agreed upon contracts.
I didn't say that. But we would also not prefer for you to harm yourself.
To harm ourselves?
Yes. For then there can be seen the idea that many individuals, because of the fear that has been instilled within them, they may find themselves attracted to and agreeing with the idea of attracting others to bring the idea of force against will against them.
All right, so
we simply disagree with this mechanism in that sense, and we find that it is maybe perhaps not excusing the perpetrator, but simultaneously a self-destructive mechanism.
So you feel that maybe our free will on some level is usurped by their powers?
Well, not exactly usurped, but shall we say, made to appear to bend.
So you think that possibly many of us may be manipulated in some way to think that maybe these...
Many of you allow yourselves to play the manipulation game, yes.
Now how can we be clear on whether
Be
this
yourself.
is a contract?
And in that sense, get in touch with your definitions that are generating the fears within you that would make it seem to be a motivation to want to be immersed in a manipulative game.
Well, I
Yes.
just want to be clear. I don't
all
want
right.
to,
By all means, please do.
I don't want to just in a blanket way or offhanded way accept that this was a contract. I mean, I'm really questioning every move that I make in terms of unraveling this.
All right, but you don't necessarily have to second-guess yourself. Again, go back to the idea that we spoke of in the initial moments of this transmission. Respect your choices.
Right.
And if any of you find that you have allowed yourself to make choices in life, or if any of you find that you have been taught to believe in certain ways that then allow you to make certain choices, whether conscious or unconscious, that bring you into an experience that appear to allow you to divest yourself of your power, accept that that's the choice you made, so that in accepting that that's the choice you made, you can use the experience of giving your power away and use the experience of appearing to be manipulated to see how that experience can connect you to your self-empowerment instead of assuming that you have to run away from that experience to find the connection to yourself.
Well, it's interesting
Yes.
you would say it that way because I
Thank
feel
you.
that that's exactly what I've done with these experiences. I
Yes.
decided that nothing in my experience, no matter how frightening they may be,
Yes.
would not contribute to a further expansion
Then
of my
congratulations.
awareness. Thank you. We were talking at
Oh. One moment, please.
Yes, anything.
We want to test the waters, if we may.
Aye. Go ahead.
Oh, well put.
I'm ready.
And make sure that your last statement was a statement of your own truth.
Mm-hmm. Test away.
All right. Let us recap what you have just said. That there is no aspect of any experience that you have that is not utilized by you to connect you to the idea of your self-empowerment rather than thrusting you toward fear. Is that a good recap and recount of basically what you said?
Well, yes, and that is my endeavor. That is.
Oh, now it's an endeavor.
No, but that's what I do most of the time. I don't want you to think I'm perfect at this, but yet I have nowhere to go.
At whatever you are doing.
But I'd have nowhere to go if I had it all together. So.
Well, you would.
I would still.
Yes, absolutely, because there is no end. You can have it all together and still have many places to go that you've never been.
Well, I'm just saying that there are moments of fear and doubt, but
yes, I know.
But I'm dealing with it.
Yes,
pretty
all right.
well.
So that's what we were checking. Is what you were actually saying. Because we do know that there are certain things we could suggest that would throw you completely into a panic.
Why don't you try one?
Oh, all right. Stop smoking now. How was that one?
Oh, you're cold. You're cold.
Oh, I felt that we were hot. Did we strike a match?
Yeah, you did. You did
All right.
indeed.
Therefore,
yeah, well, like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm moving toward it. I'm looking
yes,
at it.
you are.
I am perfect.
As you are.
Thank you.
Please, all of you remember, whatever it is you're doing, no matter what it is, you are doing that thing perfectly.
Well, let's say I'm moving toward being more of my natural self.
All right, that's fine, and then you will be a different perfect.
Thank you.
You see, when you take the charge off it, when you fully take the charge off it, then you will exhibit the things that are only germane to that particular perfect choice as opposed to another. It is because you have a charge on the idea of leaving the smoking that it remains.
Yeah, I'm not...
And it is your motivational definitions that create the charge.
I have been looking at it a lot.
Yes, but that's all right. It is simply that we recognize that you can create scenarios within yourself that result in energetic conflict because of how you choose to look at this. But if you allow yourself to be perfect as you are, then you will allow the perfection that you are to transform into a different kind or expression of perfection, and then the transition from one form to another will not necessarily have to contain the idea of a conflict and a war within yourself.
That's beautifully
And then you will not have to feel that you are giving something up.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you feel that makes it more difficult for you to experience something different than what you do.
Are you in a way hinting that it's important for my health at this point to do that?
Did it only come across as a hint?
It seems to be something that we talk
without
about. Without
putting undue stress upon it. The idea is, again, to remember the analogy we have shared with all of you many times, and that is that when all of you start operating on a higher frequency level, as most of you are now doing, the smallest thing that doesn't represent that frequency can, in your terms, actually jam up the entire engine more easily. It doesn't take much to freeze the entire machine when the entire machine is operating at a high frequency. It requires cleanliness in that sense. And anything that doesn't belong, it doesn't matter how small or seemingly insignificant it is, it has the power to equal the force of the entire machine because it simply is a frequency that doesn't belong. And anything now, by operating on a high frequency, anything will be magnified and amplified. And as it's a frequency that doesn't belong, that will be magnified too, to seem to be equal to the force of the entire thing you do prefer.
Yeah. It's
do you
funny.
follow?
I've certainly noticed that where
yes.
I just don't seem to be able to get away with what I could have.
It is not an issue of getting away.
Yeah, but
really,
you know what I'm
anything.
saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yes, but you are giving yourself the parameters that allow you to know you are changing. And it's just really fundamentally a matter of allowing yourself to understand you're not losing anything by allowing the change to go forward. And in fact, what it is you may believe at this moment you are giving up, I guarantee you, I promise you, because I can, because I know the universe, I know that the Creator has promised this already to all of you. Believe me, therefore I can promise it, because it's not my promise. Whatever it is that will replace whatever it is you now define as something you are giving up will be so powerful, so beautiful, so energizing, so overwhelmingly ecstasy producing, you won't know what a cigarette is. Mm-hmm. You will no longer remember what they even were all about. The thing that will replace them, the energy that will replace what they stand for, will be so overwhelmingly true as a part of you that the new you become will even have no recollection, no history, no understanding of anything that has nothing to do with the new you.
What a blessed day that will be.
That day is today if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Because every day is today.
Yeah.
But you have to decide which today it will be. And that's up to you.
Yeah.
But remember, please, 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 once again, remember, no matter what, all of you are always and never for a second are you not unconditionally loved, no matter what choices you make. And again, you are never for an instant ever alone, even while at the same time you are all that there is.
I know, and I appreciate that so much. I remind myself daily.
All right. I strongly urge you, because again the choice is yours, I strongly urge you to begin to remind yourself through your actual actions rather than simply in your mind. Because again, when you really take the leap of faith and actually incorporate the actions that say you are reminding yourself of who it is you say you prefer to be, I guarantee you that that behavior will bring with it the things that will leave no room for the things that don't belong to who you have created yourself to be with your new behavior.
Do you think it's a block to success for me?
It is, in that sense, a self-created apparency of a block to being yourself, for being yourself is the only definition of success that exists in my reality.
Well, then it's not my true nature, obviously, so I'm...
So to speak. Although, again, please remember, paradoxically speaking, everything you create is created from you, and therefore, in a sense, is a part of your true nature.
Right.
But you know what we mean.
Yes, I do. It's very paradoxical.
All of you are, and all of your reality is, and when you start living in the paradox, you'll be much happier.
Yeah, I know.
Do you follow that?
I do indeed.
Does that help you?
It helps me very much, and I'd love to ask another question, but I'll let you move on now. Thank you very much.
All right. You, good day.
Well, hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day. Been having fun?
Oh, have I been having fun?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Hell and heaven.
Yes.
Thank you for the great production.
If it means anything at all to you, we will give you one gift. We apologize for shaking you to your very foundation. And at the same time, we are happy to be in service.
Boy, did I ever get my world pulled out from underneath me.
Yes,
I'll tell
but
you.
you see,
It was great.
that's
What
what you have asked us
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
Based on the level you say you want to operate from.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you bring your little book?
No, and I've been carrying it in my purse with me, and I didn't bring it with me today. And
What a
thank you.
fascinating synchronicity. When then you are rejoined with your little book, look at saying number 3.
3.
Yes.
Okay.
And look at specifically the middle paragraph,
Okay.
the longer one.
All right.
Therein you will understand exactly what we have done and why.
Well, I've read all of them.
Yes, I know, but look again at number
that
3. That will explain precisely what we did and why.
Okay.
The middle paragraph of number 3 in what you call the Tao Te Ching.
Yes. Thank you so much for that gift.
You are welcome.
All the love that went with that. That was
All right.
beautiful.
Have you now allowed yourself to feel a little less structured?
Oh, there is no foundation there. Interesting that this morning I realized that to move totally into the unknown, because I had during this period of time, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I had a dream in which I, at that time, had killed this woman.
Yes.
And I woke up, and I mean, my heart, she might as well have been laying on the floor.
Yes.
And of course, I then realized, it took me about a half hour or so to calm down. I thought, my God, I really killed her.
Yes.
And then, of course, realized that it was myself.
Absolutely.
And
we helped.
Yes. This was really big time. And then I'd sort of forgotten that. And that came back, of course, during this period of time. And I was reading in the Tao of Physics, and my feelings of the shock and the rug being pulled out from underneath me. And I was in very good company with my favorite, Albert Einstein.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And he had, this morning, reminded me when he had said that his theoretical science no longer would work for him.
Yes.
And that he had felt that his world had been pulled out from underneath him, and there was no foundation in which to build upon.
Yes. And also, just to add something else that one of the people on your planet has said along the same lines, those that are connected to what you call your quantum physics, it has been said by one of your humans, referring to the quantum physics, that if upon hearing it you are not shaken to your very foundations, you didn't understand it.
Yes. And this morning I experienced that there was, of course, there is no foundation there. I'm perfectly, I really moved into the unknown, because there is no other place for foundation, and I don't, is the unknown.
Yes, and we felt that nothing would prove that point more strongly than demonstrating that even after 14 of your years of the dispensation of information and the absorption of information, that even after 14 years, we could still find one pin to pull that would allow the structure to collapse completely.
Yes, we have.
So that you can know that no matter where you are, no matter how far you've come, there will always be a pin we can find.
Oh, that's comforting.
Yes, it is comforting.
It is.
Because it means you will never stop learning and never stop changing and never stop growing, and the universe will always, forever, be exciting and unexpected. And just when you think you know it all, we will be happy to prove that you don't.
Well, I do feel today that I really don't know anything.
Congratulations. Now you know everything you need to know.
And I also don't know who I am.
Congratulations. Now you know who you are.
Yes. And it feels great. It is
this may seem, again, mysteriously put to many people, but this is, in your terms, the truth and the absoluteness of it. When you finally allow yourself to know that you don't know who you are, then you actually are who you really are, because you are everything and nothing.
Wow.
You are the eternal infinite. You are the beginning and the end and the forever that is neither. When you then allow yourself to give up a sense of a so-called identity, it is when you give up that identity that you actually experientially discover who you actually are as a consciousness, as a being, as an existence.
Yes,
for it is only in the experiencing that you actually discover yourself.
Well, it was quite an experience.
And it still is.
And it still is.
Yes.
And
Congratulations. And take it to heart that we would not have done that if we didn't deem you were ready.
Yes.
Which means we knew you were strong enough to take it, no matter whether or not it felt as if you were.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that even in the idea of feeling that we had betrayed you, we remind you that we told you all quite some time ago that when it came time for us to really pull the pins, you would, for a while, hate us.
Yes.
That's all right.
And we remembered that.
Yes.
That came up that we would.
Yes. And that's all right because, again, we don't care. We don't care because we love you unconditionally, so we don't care how you feel about us.
Well, I had remembered that I had asked for it. I had forgotten that I had asked for
I know.
it. Not quite. And because I do like things instantaneous.
Yes.
And so this was quite an experience.
And this is just the beginning.
Oh, yes. One of the experiences I had,
Yes.
because I did go in heaven and hell, and hell, in and out of it, and I woke up one morning with just the word knowing.
Knowing, yes.
And I...
Being, knowing, yes.
And I took my 2001 music, went outside in the water, and played it, and before... when it had always been an announcement with the overture, the Lord of Light, this time I got "We Are Here," but this time it was the I that is we, as a part of that "We Are Here," where before it was always Ellie and the children and everything, and now it was me as part of this.
Very good. Congratulations. Does that help you then?
Oh, yes. Thank you so very much.
All right. One moment. Next time then, as a suggestion, bring your book.
Okay.
And we will share together the middle paragraph of number 3.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I will.
All right. Mail. Good day.
Hi, Bashar. Great to be here again.
We are happy that you are happy you are there. Thank you.
I have 2 unrelated questions, if I may. I will be attending a healing workshop starting October 24th
Oh, all right. Have
to
a good
November
time.
1st. And
Have a good time.
it'll be in Mount Palmer area. My
all
question
right.
is,
Have a good time.
it's something that is really somewhat outside of my reality.
Obviously
and,
not.
I'm
you
accepting...
wouldn't have been attracted to allow yourself to experience.
Well, let me reword then. It's something that I've never done like this, okay? So it's totally new. And while I feel comfortable in wanting to do that, I would appreciate some confirmation from you that the spiritual guides I'll be working with are doing this for my highest good, for my growth, for my best soul growth.
So what you are saying is that you doubt that?
I would like your confirmation.
So what you're saying is that you doubt that?
Everything I have checked out says yes, they are. Okay.
So what you're saying is that you doubt the information you have gotten?
I am more comfortable by getting your confirmation.
So what you're saying is that you doubt the information you have gotten? I am attempting to elicit from you what it is you are saying. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I feel that in a way, no. If you're reluctant to help me,
I'm not reluctant to do anything.
Then yes, I'm going with this, and I'm comfortable. Okay.
Why?
I would be more comfortable.
Why?
Because the people I've talked to, the feeling I get are sincere.
Yes.
And
what about the feelings you get from yourself about doing this?
I feel comfortable doing it.
Comfortable or excited?
Excited, yes, also. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I'm convinced.
Okay, good.
Are you sure now? You are excited about doing this. This is representative of your excitement.
I look forward to this experience, yes.
Oh, all right. Then what other information or confirmation do you need?
Again, I would be more comfortable if you also
So what you're saying is that you doubt the information you have gotten from yourself. Is that what you are saying? Be honest. Say yes.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. It's all right. You can say yes. I doubt myself. Yes.
Okay, yes.
All you're saying to us. I would feel more comfortable if you would confirm it. Yes, I doubt myself. That's what you're saying.
Okay.
All right?
I doubt myself.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. Why?
Why am I doubting myself?
Yes.
Because it's a totally new experience for me, and
So what's that got to do with it? What is your definition of new experiences that would make you doubt that it is still attractive and representative of your joy? How do you define the idea of the unknown that makes it seem as if the unknown must automatically, in that sense, bring with it a lack of certainty? How? How?
Well, again, my perception is that...
Your perception is based on your definition. So what is your definition of something you haven't done that brings with it the perception that it contains a lack of certainty?
Really just that I feel comfortable in doing that. That I feel like, I resonate with this. I don't feel scared. I don't have any fear in doing it.
All right, and that's fine for what you don't have, and what do you have?
I look forward to having this experience.
Because?
Because it's something new.
And why does that excite you?
Well, for the people I have talked to, people I've related to, resonate with me. I like what they say. I feel they're sincere.
There's that sincerity thing again.
Uh-huh.
All right. The idea of what it is you believe you're going to learn. Why does the idea attract and excite you?
Because I'm in the process of healing myself from MS, and it looks like this is a good step in that direction.
I see. Mm-hmm. All right. Then have a good time.
Okay, I will.
Do you understand what I am saying?
Yeah.
Do you understand
what I'm hearing you say? Just depend on myself. And don't.
Do you understand how I am giving you your confirmation?
By simply making sure that this is really what I want.
Yes.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Because that is the only thing that can confirm it.
Okay.
And in that way, I'll be happy to confirm it, but I can't confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
Only you can confirm it.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're going to talk about healing, that's got to be the first step. Okay. You have to trust your own direction.
Okay.
You have to trust your own instinct. If you don't, there cannot be healing. That's the foundation.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So you've already started the class.
Okay, good.
Right now.
Uh-huh. Okay, good.
You follow?
Yes, I do. I appreciate it.
Anything else?
Yes, I have a second question. Totally unrelated. I have a dear... You'll relate it for me, right?
Maybe.
I have a dear friend in Houston. Her name is Mary Mount. She's teaching a workshop called The Wisdom of the Soul.
Wisdom of the Soul.
Yeah.
All right.
And I have two questions with respect to that.
Oh, I see.
She's very interested in leaving her current employment and source of income and doing this teaching full time.
Well, how interesting.
And
I wonder why.
Well, she loves it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And my question are these: do you have some specific suggestions on what else you might be able to do to be able to do this soon?
Oh, yes. This question and the other one certainly have nothing in common. Nothing at all. Nothing whatsoever. May I ask you a question?
All right.
Thank you. Do you understand why acting on the highest excitement is so important and is its own confirmation and is the thing that will allow things to happen as quickly as possible? Do you understand why that is?
I hear that, and I...
do you understand why that is? Why is it essential to act on your highest joy?
If we follow our star, we'll fulfill ourselves.
Why?
Why?
Yes, why? What is excitement that it makes that so? Why is excitement the thing that lets you know that if you follow it, you will be manifesting, in a sense, your true self? Why?
Why is that so?
Yes, why is excitement the sign, the symbol that tells you that that is so? Why? What is excitement that it tells you that? What is it? What's your definition of excitement? Do you know? Do you have one?
Well, to me, it's just feeling good, feeling high energy, feeling enthused.
All right.
Those kinds of words.
Let's be more specific.
Okay.
Here's our definition.
All right.
Excitement is the physical translation of the frequency of your true self.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So if you follow it, if you act on it, what are you being? I just told you. If you follow your highest excitement at every moment, what are you being? Your true self.
Okay.
And if you're being your true self, that means you're operating on the highest frequency possible at that moment, and that means you're attracting the opportunities and the circumstances and the tools and everything you need at that moment to the best of your ability to allow you to continue to move in that direction, because you are already a complete hit. You contain everything you need. And the only way you need to activate it, the only thing you need to do to activate any proper tool at any given moment, or any proper opportunity or circumstance or situation at any given moment, is to pour in to that toolkit the activation energy that means act on your highest excitement at any given moment. That's all you have to do. That's why that works. That's why it helps things happen as fast as they can happen, because you follow your joy and act on your love. That's why it works that way, because that feeling, that vibration, is your most natural core vibrational frequency. That's who you are.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. And if I may add what you're saying, if there is any fear left about, like in her case, leaving her current income source and things like that,
then that is her energy, her excitement energy, the same energy that generates her excitement, being filtered through a definition that she has bought into, that is coloring that energy and making that energy be experienced as fear, which is simply saying that you have a definition through which you are running your energy that makes you experience your energy as if it were out of tune with your true fundamental self. That's what fear is. It's, again, by analogy, like what you call the sour note on your piano instrument. It simply means that you need to tune it. All of you have definitions that you have bought into. You have one energy, that's who you are. You run your energy when you create a personality structure in physical reality. You flow your energy through the personality structure. It's, in a sense, a construction, a persona construction. The personality structure is created of belief systems, definitions. These definitions alter the frequency of the energy based on how much they are or are not aligned with your true fundamental self. When they are aligned with your true fundamental self, you experience the flow of energy as joy, ecstasy, creativity, excitement, inspiration, imagination, and so forth, and love. When they are out of whack, as you say, when they are misattuned to your core true self, you feel your energy as fear, anxiety, and so forth. That's what lets you know that you have a definition that is out of alignment with your truth. So if you experience fear about a given situation, it means you have a definition of the situation that has been fed to you, that you've bought into, maybe even unconsciously, and your energy is flowing through it, and it's making you feel that the definition you have makes you feel the energy as if it is out of alignment with your truth. So you have to get in touch with what that definition would be, replace it with a definition of your preference, flow your energy through that, and then you will have removed the so-called fear. You'll have transformed it. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's it. That's all there is to it. No mystery. That's how it works. Guaranteed.
Great. May I just make one more statement?
You may.
Really, a question, but again, I'd like confirmation. Along those lines, I keep stepping into that. Well, no, wait a minute. Just say that, yes, based upon what you've just told me, I think I understand it all.
All right.
And
we'll see.
I'd just like you to confirm that. Okay. Once again, my question was, to what extent should I participate in setting up workshops for her across the country?
How excited about it are you?
That's right. That's what I was going to say. So really, it's up to me. If I'm excited about
doing
that,
here's the formula. It's as simple as this. All right? At any given moment. Could be anything. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be a career. Doesn't have to be a project. At any given moment, you have available to you things that you could take some action on. Whatever it is you have the ability to take action on the one that contains the highest amount of excitement first. When you have taken that as far as you can at any given moment, then act on the next most exciting thing you have the ability to take some action on and go on down the line. One after the other.
Okay.
That's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
In the course of any day, the amount of things you are capable, whether it's 1 or 1,000, the amount of things that you are capable of continuing to take action on, as long as you make sure that you're always acting on at any given moment the thing that excites you the most out of anything you could be doing, as soon as you have done all you can on that and you go to the next, whatever amount of things you get done in a day, that's all you need to do in that day. And whatever you don't get to doesn't need doing.
Okay.
Because the thing that excites you the most, as long as you are sure in your clarity, honesty, and integrity that what you are acting on is your excitement and not a disguised anxiety, not an avoidance that you say is your excitement, but as long as you truly are acting on your true fundamental joy, then that is the organizing principle and the guiding, driving engine that organizes the amount of time you need and the amount of things that will come your way that you need to take action on. It is the thing that automatically organizes all the other things you need to do. Do you follow?
Yes, I do.
It's as simple as that. When you allow it to be that simple and act on it as if it is, you will, again, I guarantee, I promise, you will see it is that simple.
Okay.
Does that help you?
It does very much, and certainly it'll help me express my true self.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You, good day.
Greetings.
And to you, good day.
I wanted to share with you first that I've done some investigating into my childhood.
Oh, all right, investigating into your childhood.
Well, yeah, a girlfriend lent me a book called Toxic Parents, and well, I just realized that
all of you, in some way, shape, or form on your planet, are to some degree toxic. Yes.
Well, I realized that I was nipped in the bud.
Okay. Most of you were. Most of you, at a very early age, were made to feel less than you are. Not necessarily intentionally, though we understand on your planet that happens too. But for the most part, they simply gave you the best they could based on what they learned, because for generations you have been nipped in the bud. You are, in that sense, a garden of unopened buds.
Well,
all nipped and lying on the ground.
I understand, and I understood that, and I was going along on the premise that they did their best, and that I was being my own parent, so I let myself do anything I want.
Well,
and encourage
that's
myself.
Not necessarily being your own parent in the broadest sense of that term, but we understand generally what you mean.
I guess I just trust that I wouldn't want anything that was not good for me.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Well,
because again, if you are nipped in the bud, you don't necessarily have a clear perspective on what might be constructive and destructive to your well-being.
Very good. Well, at one, I thought that it was kind of like spilt milk, and I would be more in the now, but I realized that there was a little bit of cleaning up to do there.
All right. Again, remember, it isn't so much the idea, specifically, of whether or not you are choosing constructive or destructive things, but that you finally understand that even if you choose a destructive thing, you can learn even then still to do something constructive with it which will transform it. That is the breaking of the chain.
Yeah, I understand that. I've listened to the tapes recently of you and me talking, like 10 years ago.
All right.
It's absolutely amazing.
All right.
We've both grown too, I've noticed.
Of course. We are not static.
In regards to some old tapes, you mentioned that I think it was in 92 that you were 3,000 miles above the planet. Have you been around here all that time?
No. But there have been certain moments and opportunities when I have had a circumstance and an opportunity to place myself in orbit physically around your world. It will usually be at about that height for a variety of reasons. But now, again, as we have said, we have recently again arrived around your planet and now will remain until the day that we call contact occurs. Slowly, we will lower our altitude until we come down into what you call contact position. Now we are approximately 2,992.1 miles above your planet.
Looking forward.
We are looking backwards.
Yeah. In regards to cones.
Yes, cones.
I was wondering if...
As amplifiers and magnifiers and transmitters of energy, yes.
So that sort of answers my question.
What?
Well, I was wondering, do you have to use an intention with a cone, or it's just being there, does it?
Is there, in a sense, a difference?
Well, the shape could
Tell me, is there a difference?
At this point, it seems in my mind, I'm sure I could think of both sides of it.
All right.
But it seems
there can be a difference, yes. You can be with it, and you can intend something with it, and you will create a different effect in both sides, yes.
I want to know if I need to, like, here's my example.
No. Do you want to? It's up to you.
Here's my example.
Yes.
I made the little effigy of my dog Luna.
Effigy of Luna. All
out
right.
of cornstarch.
Cornstarch doggy. Yes.
And I put it under the cone.
Yes, and?
Do I just let it go, or do I have
I don't know. What do you want to do?
The cone and the dog?
It's your dog. It's your cone. It's your game. It's your experiment. What do you want to do?
Well,
There's no absolute answer here, you know.
I like things I could put them there and forget about them.
Yes, you could. Are you going to? Probably not. Or maybe you will. I don't know. It's your experiment. It's your experience. We didn't tell you to do that because we said there's supposed to be some absolute result. We told you in that sense that we suggested you could do it to see what results you get depending on what you choose to do. That's all.
Okay, here's the idea with the results.
Yes.
I'm choosing to deal or treat the dog naturally.
Which means?
Holistically. I'm using a book that's Holistic Animal Health Care.
Yes.
Well, then I wonder...
Yes, what do you wonder?
If it takes a long time, that's fine because it's natural. It could take a long time.
Maybe.
Well, here's the maybe in my mind, too.
Yes.
Am I letting it go too far?
Maybe.
Yeah. It's this and that.
Yes. Are you finding difficulty with this level of ambiguity?
Maybe.
Maybe. You're learning. You're learning.
It's really hard to...
In this instance, this is how the ambiguity serves you. Within the ambiguity that you now find yourself floating in, all things are equal. So make a decision.
I'm understanding that.
Then just bring your intention in and make a decision. That's it. Just make a decision.
Okay, about...
Do what you feel is correct at this moment.
I keep doing that. I make up my mind of one thing and say, that feels good.
Yes.
And then next week I say, okay, this week I'm going to do this. And
all right.
I have been going along
Take
like
into
that.
account that this is not, in your terms, arbitrary. Take into account all the consequences of the things that you do, and in taking them into account, you can use them not in a restrictive or structurized way, but you can use them to bounce off of, as you say, to make your next decision. You don't just have to throw everything out. You can see what it is you have created, and you can choose to use some of those elements to guide yourself in your next decision. It doesn't have to be, as you would say, absolutely and totally from zero, but you have to determine which elements you need to maintain and which elements you don't.
Okay. Back to the cone.
Back to the cone.
When I'm playing with that shape, you stressed that the circular part was very important.
It is to maintain the integrity of the antenna for it to be relatively... to put a ring around the inside, fine. As close as you can make it.
That's part of the tuning, you said.
Yes.
One last thing.
Yes.
Hawaii, the Big Island.
Hawaii or Big Island, yes.
It's, I read, I'm taking their word for it, that it's at 19.5 degrees longitude, latitude, whatever.
Relatively. And so?
What does that position for the island, what does that symbolize?
In asking that question, are you not familiar with the double tetrahedral structure imposed inside your spherical planet that would determine the points on which those upwellings would occur?
It's like one of the in points, not one of the out points, right? Of the double tetrahedral.
It is in and out. It is simply what you would call the latitude, generally, that is represented by the contact of the points of the tetrahedral structure, the double tetrahedron inverted in and out, up and down structure as imposed inside of a sphere. When you have an upside down, right side up, double tetrahedral structure, or what is actually referred to as a stella octangula. You follow? Yeah. That is your proper name for it. Stella octangula. When you have a stella octangula inside of a sphere, the points of the tetrahedrons will contact the sphere in your measurements at what you call 19.5 north and south latitude. And that is where you will find on most of your planets the idea of energy inwellings and upwellings, such as gaseous cloud, hurricane anomalies, and volcanic activity, and so forth. That's 19.5.
You know what? Last night I realized that at the end of my street is a glass factory that works 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, basically.
Yeah.
And I just realized it's just like the Big Island where they're making glass or the flames are going off at whatever. I just thought it was interesting that I would keep attracting myself to these hot points.
Yes. And that is why we have suggested many times that in finding those places, especially what you call your Hawaii as an area of attraction for you, that you spend more of your time there.
I'm going there this month.
All right. For how long?
3 weeks.
All right. Aloha.
Aloha.
You, and then the male. Number 2, do you know who you are? Number 2, do you know who you are, male? Thank you. Number 1, good day.
Good day to you, Bashar. Can you define for me your mission with the Earth plane
My
and how that
mission?
works? Yes.
My mission is to have fun.
Great.
Now,
just
that
the
is
kind
a
of
simple
entity
answer.
I wanted to meet.
But the idea is my choice is to have accepted the invitation of your collective consciousness to interact with you, to reflect to you the joy in being yourself by seeing the reflection of the joy I receive from being myself. This so-called mission is simply a side effect of being myself. It has nothing to do in that sense really with an intentional mission in the sense that I think you need to have me do this. But in accepting the invitation to interact with you and in being myself, which I cannot help but be, the idea is that I present to you a level of existence that works for us, that can work for all of you in your own way, and I am happy to share this with you, and that is the extent of my so-called mission. The side effect, however, of each and every one of you choosing to let my energy rub off on you, choosing to operate on a similar frequency as I do, will be profound change in your own individual life and profound change in the collective consciousness of your entire planet towards the idea of the creation of joy and love. And therefore, in that sense, you could say that is a side effect of my interaction with you. But to really call it a mission is beside the point. Did that make sense to you?
Yes, it did. And what I'm hearing you say this evening is that we must learn to trust ourselves more, that loving ourselves consists of looking not outside of ourselves, but rather inside of ourselves, knowing that we have many beings to help us. And when the pins are
and that
removed,
you are helping many beings by being yourself.
Exactly.
But if you're not yourself, who can you help?
Exactly. But when the pins are being removed, I guess what I stumble with and struggle with is maintaining that center, that knowing that this too shall pass, but while you're in it, it feels like you are in a tsunami.
Absolutely, and that's the way it's supposed to feel.
Okay.
You are not supposed to maintain the center. That's the problem.
Okay.
You are supposed to go with the flow, so that by going with the flow, no matter how it feels and no matter what you experience in going with the flow, you will then know that by being willing to accept all of that as a part of who you are, you will know you have never left the center. And that's what will allow you to experience the fact that you have never left the center. It's not about maintaining the center, it's about knowing you never left and cannot leave, even though you may make it appear as if you have. That's the difference.
Okay, so we've entered a curriculum of unlearning.
Ooh, a curriculum.
Of unlearning.
Yes.
Everything we've been taught.
Yes. Well, not everything.
Well, I think that the basic truths are within us. We have every answer we need within us.
Of course. And that's what we are reflecting to all of you. You don't need us. You have it all. But we're happy to reflect that you don't need us and have it all.
I am very attracted to the angel energy.
Oh, all right.
And want to learn how to become more playful. And I think that childlike, there's a little child here in this room this evening. It is the most beautiful reflection.
Happy birthday!
Of how that center looks.
Yes.
It is free, it is expression filled.
Absolutely. And all of you are exactly the same way, but you have been taught to forget that.
And she doesn't come to us saying, what do you think I should do?
Yes.
She just does it.
However, at the same time, it's all right to allow the experience of going to someone and saying, what do you think I should do to be all right, as long as it is part of the balanced understanding that that is simply one experience you can have in being yourself. As long as it's not truly a giving away of the power or a pretending to, it can still, even in that action, be a part of being, knowing that you are still in the center if you do it that way. You follow that?
Oh, yes.
All right. So, yes, she is an example of that, absolutely. She is the reminder. All children, in that sense, are the reminder for all of you as to who you actually are. Yes, that's why you keep having them. To remind you of who you are. So that you really won't, in that sense, ultimately forget, because you will surround yourself with little reminders of who you actually are. That is the real reason why you have created a life form for yourself on your planet wherein you have offspring. Do you follow?
Yes, by loving our choices. By loving ourselves.
Yes.
We are, I guess, giving to the universe what we came here to do. Is that correct?
Yes. Because in that you were created to be a unique you, then only by really being that unique you do you allow the experience to exist for the universe, for the infinite creation, to experience itself as the unique you that you are.
Okay, so when I'm having what I consider to be a negative experience, because I have judged that.
Yes. Well, that's part of the experience, too. In that sense, you can't really judge having had judgment. Because that is a part of the experience. At the same time, you can recognize that that experiential consequence is maybe not what you prefer, and you can use the experience of having judged yourself to then make a choice to not judge yourself in the future. But you can use the judgment in a constructive way that way, while at the same time allow the experience of judgment to be valid for what it is and not judge the experience of having judged yourself.
Well,
does that make sense in your language?
It does, but there is one clarification in there that I think I want to point out.
By all means.
Which would be that in the experience of this judging of oneself, I have read recently that if we choose to say, I love this feeling, not judge it, and not hold any kind of animosity toward ourselves, that it will pass. And
it will transform.
It will, that's it. And we want transformation and transmutation.
Yes. Okay. That's how it works. If you feel sad, if for some reason you choose to feel mad, own and accept the feeling. Don't deny it. Don't run away from it. Say, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Accept it, because that's what happened. But in accepting it, it's gone.
Because part of our unlearning here
Yes.
is all of these rules. Well, Jesus and Buddha, they would have behaved this way. So I feel that there's retribution coming to me because I can't love so-and-so the way I think they
Yes,
should.
these are the stories that you tell yourselves, yes.
Yes. So
when this has absolutely nothing at all to do, really, with what the beings called Jesus and Buddha actually taught.
Exactly. Okay. That's, to me, something I feel that my call here on earth is to share that with everyone in this room.
Well, if that's the expression of being who you are, then all well and good. But the only mission you have is to be yourself. Anything else is simply an expression of the goal that is already achieved, which is simply being the best you can be. That is the only goal, the only mission, the only purpose you have, is to be you as best as you can. Any way you choose to express it is an expression of it, but those expressions themselves are not the goals, missions, and purposes.
Exactly.
You follow?
Thank you for the hope that you share with all of us. Thank you for the time and the energy that you put forth for us. We really, really thank you for that.
Our absolute and unconditional and never-ending pleasure. For we learn as well. You can be number 3, number 2.
Thank you, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'd like to check with you as to how accurate the picture of reality is that I'm developing.
Oh my, this could lead to something interesting, perhaps.
I hope.
Let's check your picture of reality and see how accurate it is.
Okay.
What is your picture of reality?
Well, I'm basing my understanding sort of on an analogy.
Yes.
Using a concept of movie film strips, are made up of frames.
This is what we have used as an analogy many times to describe the idea of the structure of your physical reality and can work for certain illustrative purposes, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had used it. I was okay. Well, then in my version of it, I see reality as sort of an infinite number of sort of holographic frames of frozen movement, and you get the illusion of movement and linear time by sort of shining the light of consciousness through each frame. Is that how? Okay. All right. Good. That's good to hear.
I'm glad that you think that's good to hear.
Well, yeah. I want to have an accurate picture of how things work because I'm trying to implement.
Remember, that is still only at best an analogy, no matter what.
Right.
But it is a good working analogy as long as you remember that's all it is. It is not a description of reality. It is only a description about reality.
Understood.
All right, thank you. In that sense, it is perfectly accurate.
Okay, so given that, then I understand you to say that we have the choice to move our consciousness through any stream of any direction.
Yes, you can illuminate any aspect of the hologram you wish. It's all there, it's all here, it's all now. Whatever angle your reference beam is coming from determines the reality experience that is reflected back from the mirror of physical reality, which is what it is. It's a mirror.
Okay, so also using your analogy of the library and taking books out, we've in the past discussed that some of the books that contain what most people would see as very scary scenarios,
or simply non-preferential experiences.
Right. One could take a book out, like I did today, for example, and read about a story about how there's an imminent, in some reality, there's an imminent a terrorist attack that's supposed to take out most of the major cities in this country using bubonic plague and anthrax.
And these things are, in a sense, certainly possibilities, and in many reality streams may even be probabilities. And in a few reality streams, based on the collective consciousness, may be absolute certainties.
Okay. So,
but there are an infinite number of Earth reality experiences.
And as I understand what you're saying, I can choose not to go into that particular reality and move into a different reality stream where that terrorist attack doesn't happen.
Yes, but the way that we usually express it is this. You don't have to even really think about it that way. As if, there's a reality I have to avoid. There's a reality I must be aware not to create. That, in fact, is contradictory to what we are saying and actually focuses your energy on it. The idea is to simply be who you want to be. Be who you prefer to be. And just let the frequency that you are determine what are the things that are then germane for you to experience, and allow whatever it is that energy brings you to be the things that are representative of the reality you prefer, knowing that no matter what form it may take in the outside world, you, by simply being who you are, will only extract a constructive outcome or experience from it, no matter how it looks. So don't insist that it shouldn't look this way or shouldn't happen that way. Just know that no matter how it manifests itself in symbolic form, which is all physical reality is, it won't make a difference in its effect in your life in terms of the constructive experience you will extract from it. If you go out of your way to say, that's a reality I don't prefer, that's a reality I don't prefer, that's a reality I have to make sure I avoid, that's a reality I have to make sure I concentrate that doesn't happen, all you're doing is saying what you don't want and not really focusing your energy on what you do want, which then simply automatically makes no room for what doesn't apply. Do you see the difference in that behavioral context and approach?
I do. I'm not, and I hear you saying that I shouldn't.
I didn't say shouldn't.
Okay. Well, but
if you want a certain effect, then we are simply suggesting that you don't concentrate on what you want to avoid. You simply be who you know you are, and it will automatically eliminate anything that doesn't belong. And whatever it is that does happen, you have to assume and accept that no matter how it looks, it will only have a positive, constructive outcome for you.
Okay, but
Yes.
Yes. And when I'm trying to come up with the definition of myself as to who I want to be, who I really am.
Are you attempting to define yourself by what you see on the outside?
Well, that's
backwards.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. And
that's backwards. That's why you're having difficulty.
Okay.
You define yourself by who you say you are. You define yourself by what definitions you choose to believe are the definitions that define you. Period. Period. You don't judge a book by its cover. You don't go by the outside idea. You don't say, oh, because now I am not seeing this, or because I am seeing this, that means that I know how to define myself. No, because that's only a reflection. It is not what determines how you define yourself. Only the definition will determine how you experience what happens. Many things, even if you are defining yourself as a positive and constructive being, many things may still on the surface appear to happen in a certain way that others may define as negative. But that has no meaning for you if you define yourself as a positive being. It doesn't matter how it appears in its form, because you know that every form carries with it the ability to pull from it both a positive and a destructive experiential meaning. So it doesn't matter how it looks. What difference does that make to you, as long as you know that no matter how it looks, you will only glean and extract a positive and constructive experience from it. So why do you care how it looks?
Because
yes.
I feel selfish if all I care is how it affects me.
No.
What's out
You're
there.
missing the point.
Okay.
I understand what you are saying, but the point is, we are not saying that you only care how it affects you. The point is that you cannot demonstrate to anyone else that they also have the ability to allow any experience to affect them only in a positive way unless you are showing them by example. Do you follow? Caring by choosing to only be affected in a positive way for yourself, you are caring for everyone else by providing the living example that they can also imitate.
Okay, yes.
There is no other way to allow them to learn to choose that except by providing the example for them, and that means you have to do it for yourself. Okay. And by doing it for yourself, if that is your truth, by being your true self, you are not just doing it for yourself. That's the power of paradox. When you have one side of the coin, you automatically have the other side, or you have no coin. So the point is, strengthen the side you are, and that will be the way to allow the other side to automatically also be complete. It may seem contradictory to the way your people have been taught, but that's only because of the way your people have been taught. If you do it with the open-hearted understanding that that's how you're doing it and that it will benefit everyone else, then it will not be a negatively selfish act. It will not have negatively selfish consequences because you know why you're doing it, and your behavior will follow suit, and you will find yourself attracted into the circumstances that will demonstrate to you how doing it for yourself will also help other people and rub off on them and give them an opportunity to see that they can do it for themselves as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's great. It's very, very helpful.
Thank you. Number 3.
Hey, Chef. How are you today?
Perfect, and you?
Great.
All right. Good day.
Good day. I was going to add something to her comment about going into the emotion. I found that in my experience, if I go into it with the idea of transforming it, it doesn't work. I have to go into it with the idea of going into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to own it completely and allow it to be what it is, or it cannot transform. If you go into it with the intention of changing it, it will stubbornly sit there until you accept it for what it is first. Yes. Well put. Well discovered. Well experienced.
Well, I'm just reflecting back to you, your experience of it. So, I've been studying the Kabbalah, and I was wondering if it excited you to maybe speak about the Kabbalah and maybe some misconceptions or something that we might have.
We have, to some degree, spoken about the idea that the Kabbalah in general does represent the underlying template structure of physical reality as your consciousness sees fit to arrange and order it. It is therefore one representation of what is called the template, and, or if you wish to be poetic, the bones of God, the underlying foundational structure of how your physical reality arranges itself in energy, consciousness, terms, and content. It is not that it is in that sense inaccurate, but there are many interpretations on it, surrounding it, clinging to it, but there is also simply the simple understanding that that's what it is, a foundational relationship that talks about relationship and ratio and the idea of how your consciousness expresses itself as a physical reality. And many things can be learned, many keys can be learned from it. They can unlock the idea of what reality is and allow your perception more free rein if you use it that way. But we will not go deeply into it at this time. Does that help you?
Sure.
Is that sufficient?
Sure.
Thank you. You, good day. And to you, good day. But one moment. You first. And good day.
Hi, Bashar. How are you doing?
You know how.
Bashar, I'm so excited. I'm almost going into anxiety. I have this idea of taking...
One does not lead to the other unless you choose it to.
Well, I'm not sure that the shortest... you said last time that things take time.
Sometimes. Because you live in a world of space and time.
Well, I'm wondering if the shortest distance between 2 points is actually driving across country to New York right now.
I don't know. You have to follow your intuition.
I'm not sure that it's necessary, but...
All right. Then save your gas. But it's up to you to decide.
It just might be a lot of fun to do it, even.
Then again,
yeah.
The primary question, as you already know, and as I already know, you already know, is it truly representative of your highest joy? Now remember again, sometimes when an example presents itself to you that seems to contain the highest amount of joy, take some action in that direction as best you can. It doesn't always mean that when something presents itself to you that is representative of highest joy, that it must always come to absolute fruition or be acted out all the way. It will show you whether or not you need to go all the way with it. But sometimes something presents itself to you with that excitement just to get you to move in that direction to some degree. Sometimes just a little bit is sufficient, but it may have required the appearance of it needing to go all the way to get you even to take a step. So don't assume when you follow your action and your excitement and your joy that you necessarily have to let that thing go all the way, but take the step and see if it still excites you. And if it still does excite you after step 1, and still excites you after step 2, and still excites you after mile 3, and still excites you after mile 4, then by all means keep following it, because why would you want to do anything else? But if then your excitement shifts, follow that. You don't have to assume anything. Just act on the excitement to the best of your ability that you're capable of doing, and see whether or not it shows you it has to come to some absolute play out, or whether it is just attempting to get you to a certain point from which you can more easily move in another direction. Because sometimes that's what it takes. You need the carrot to lure you so far, and you don't necessarily have to go all the way in that direction. You may need to take a side step, but you had to get here before you could go there more easily. That's the point of how your excitement attracts you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
All right.
I'd like to try this from another perspective.
By all means.
After I spoke, after Dr. Pappas and I spoke on the telephone,
okay.
He was in Vancouver. I missed him when he was here, but I kept at it.
All right.
And we did connect. We both started shouting at the same time, like old times, but we were not directing our anger at each other. So it was very, very good to talk to him again.
All right. Are you saying, if I may clarify a point before you continue, that you actually still had anger, or that you experienced that there was no anger?
I had no anger towards him. Let me proceed.
No. You are suggesting that you had anger towards something, but you simply didn't express it at him.
I had anger towards someone that he had attempted to do business with.
All right.
And who I felt had sabotaged him.
I see. All right.
Okay. So anyway, it was good to connect with him. This,
all right.
This whole thing started because I had a dream with him in it about 6 or 7 weeks ago. I thought about it for 2 or 3 days. I made a phone call. I said, "Is Dr. Pappas coming to town?" And they said, "Yes." Okay. After I had the dream with him, I drove up to Kodo to go to work, and I saw like the hugest moving van I have ever seen. This truck.
All right.
Painted across it was the white bear. Okay.
Yes.
But behind it was another whole section, just as big. It must be a multi-million-dollar family.
All right.
And on this section of the truck was the rhinoceros.
All right.
And I'm wondering if you can comment on the metaphor of the rhinoceros for me.
Charging. Full speed ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. So this time it's going to go down.
I didn't say that. I just said charging, full speed ahead.
Okay.
The rhinoceros has no expectation in its charge, but it does nevertheless give its heart and soul into the charge, because that's the direction it knows it needs to go. It has no expectation as to where the charge will lead it per se. It just sets its sights on what it believes it needs to charge toward and charges.
Okay, so it's happening. It's happening. That's enough. One more question.
Yes.
The thing that really excites me right now is what I'm thumbing through books in the health food stores. I'm reading about arthritis, and there's a different spin on it, that arthritis might actually be a deficiency disease. You had told me to try cardamom. I never found cardamom in a book, but I smelled it, and it smelled like a digestive aid.
All right, yes.
So what I'm reading about is that arthritis could be stimulated, or the genesis of it could be from a bacteriological imbalance in the small intestine or the stomach, that it sets off antigens and antibodies that are...
That is some of it, but not the only thing.
Yeah.
Again, there is some connection to the idea of levels of toxicity.
Yeah.
And the idea of missing minerals and elements in the body.
Yeah, that there's absorption of toxins because of the permeability of the... of the walls of the stomach.
All right, do your homework, do your exploration, if that is what excites you.
Okay, now how about the shoeing? I'm wondering if the particular angle that the hoofs are cut right now might actually be affecting the problem with the knee.
No comment at this time, except to say, to some degree, yes.
I mean, I'm getting improvement every day with the castor oil wraps, but this is taking so long that it's
You're not focused on how long it is taking. This has always been our point.
He's happy.
Focus on what is happening while it is taking time.
The horse is happy.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very, very much.
Thank you. And back to you. Good day, good day, good day.
Well, I've been feeling pretty destabilized.
Destabilized. Congratulations.
Well, you know...
Yes, I do. And so do you.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that does take a very
Park.
Well, but that's the reality of it for now.
All right, thank you. Accepted and acknowledged because it was owned.
And
yes.
The idea of Zen attitude
yes.
is a perspective.
Yes, it is.
And also the feeling of being of the inner child.
Yes.
And how these two reconcile, because my understanding with integration is that everybody gets to come along, so to speak.
So to speak, yes.
So I don't know how to reconcile. Positions.
Reconcile what?
Well, because as the inner child within me might feel a great deal of pain about something,
yes.
So I can move into a Zen perspective.
Again. You assume there's no pain in Zen.
Well, okay, I definitely can feel it there. It's just a lot more tolerable.
Tolerable. What an interesting experience.
What?
All right, I'll tolerate the pain. Does that make me Zen?
Well, and sometimes I can even enjoy it.
I did not even suggest necessarily that you had to enjoy it. But simply pointing out that it is erroneous to assume that there isn't necessarily pain in Zen. Therefore, there is nothing to reconcile.
So it's just different versions of the same experience.
Yes, but you can go further than that.
Well, I guess that's where I'm confused.
All right, thank you. Can you be more specific about the area of apparent confusion?
Yeah, like sometimes I'll get in touch with the child within myself, and I experience a lot. Well, I'm very sensitive about being humiliated.
Oh. Boy, did you just hand us a big button.
Oh, like you didn't know it was there already.
Of course I did, but you know, I'm being respectful. Nevertheless, nevermore.
I like feeling vulnerable.
Yes, I know. And I understand that you are learning about the power that does exist in vulnerability, true vulnerability. We understand that, and you are doing well with that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Stroke. And now...
Yes.
Max. All right.
But I know it's not this or that. It's this and
that.
I had to delete that from my computer 350 times.
And at the same time.
Yes, Bashar.
And at the same time.
Yes.
And at the same time. And at the same time. Are you having fun?
Much more.
All right. Much more fun at being who you are. The pain the inner child will feel from time to time, yes. To live in it, to accept it, to feel it, to understand why it is there. The Zen of it, again, remember that story works for you in this particular context as well, about the samurai and learning what heaven and hell is all about.
Yes.
Because in a sense, being made to feel his anger so strongly by the Zen master, was he not in that sense being given an opportunity to feel all his pain?
Yeah, it's like I won't choose the anger, though.
Yes.
I'll choose the pain.
Yes, I know. But that was the idea, simply that it is a choice.
Yeah, but anger seems fruitless.
No, it is not fruitless. But the idea is that if you do experience it, you can still learn from it. And it's all right to experience it because the anger can put you in touch with something you didn't know about yourself and can give you a perspective of the opposite side in that circumstantial context.
I know, and part of me, I did partly enjoy it.
Yes. But the idea again is that, yes, you can find that you can learn to respond with some degree of attached detachment and so-called neutrality and calm-centered peace in situations that other individuals may automatically react to with anger. But the idea simply is that when you do that, that's fine, and you do that. But if there simply is still situations in which you react with anger, that's fine too.
Yeah, well, what happens is I can choose the Zen position, but then I feel it being eroded by other aspects of myself that don't feel that way.
How fascinating that you have turned yourself into such an interesting committee.
I have.
Perhaps you should take a vote on exactly what the majority really feels like doing.
Well, right now the child still wins. Still wins.
Then does not everyone win?
There yet.
All right, well that's all well and good, but that is in a sense what you are working on, is discussing in your committee how everyone can win.
All right, and that it can't be ignored. Certainly not.
Well, no, believe me, you will create scenarios that will force you to see it. You will not ignore it because you have already made the commitment to be who you are.
Well, and that's how I honor the child within myself.
Yes. But that's what integration is all about. It's not the homogenization and the blending of all those aspects within you. It is the agreement that for every aspect that remains distinct and individually discrete, there is simply a win-win situation for all of them, so that they become congruent and coherent and work together because they all know they win. And that simply takes getting down to the fundamental wish fulfillment that every single aspect requires. Instead of getting stuck on the methodology by which many of you think each aspect needs to have its wishes fulfilled, just get into the fundamental wish itself. And you will find that when you simplify it to the fundamental wish, I want to feel loved, then you can find any number of ways to fulfill that fundamental wish for any and all aspects within you, and they can all come to some form of agreement, instead of insisting that it has to be done this way or that. Yes, that's all right. It can feel autistic sometimes.
And then I'm sitting there talking about Zen masters and
yes.
recognizing that concept, and suddenly I look up and there's a snake in my office staring at me. And I slept with that snake for 2 days.
Very good. Congratulations.
And then it slithered out.
All right.
And
you are seeing a symbol again of ancient wisdom.
About that?
A reflection of ancient knowledge and commitment to be the self, conviction to be the self. That is its general symbol. And also that it can slip in between the cracks and get in where other things cannot, which is what you are asking it to do. To snake in there and root out those things that are difficult for other parts of you to discover. But it'll find them. It'll snake them out. Isn't that why you call the idea of one of your plumbing instruments a snake? To go in there and root out the clog?
So it still comes down to that fundamental feeling of trust for yourself, that whatever you create for yourself so you can get at these things.
Well, you know, as you say in your language, bottom line, who else is there to put your trust in? There is the infinite, but that's you. Remember that you are, each and every one of you is the infinite, experiencing itself as a separate part of the infinite. So who else is there to trust?
Right, but being a physical being and trying to make sense of some of the things that happen in one's life
is part of the fun.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm
why
glad
you
I'm having
chose
so
it.
much fun with myself, you know.
That's why you chose it. Because you knew how challenging and interesting and creative it would be. And boy, did you get what you asked for.
You're not kidding. I just hope I have some buffers here. So
of course you do. If you didn't, you probably would have combusted long ago. You are all creating the buffers you need. You know what you're doing. Remember, you know what you're doing. All you need to do is trust that a little bit more, and then you will know a little bit more certainly that you do know what you're doing. And the more you know what you're doing, the more you know what you're doing.
So how do you reconcile that with earlier lifetimes, like being
reconcile,
a witch?
Reconcile.
With being, you know, a witch or being burned at the stake.
How do you reconcile it?
Yeah,
you reconcile it by not reconciling it. You reconcile it by being in the now. I don't mean ignore it. That's not what I mean by not reconcile. What I mean is you drop the need to have that mechanism of reconciliation by knowing that everything you define yourself to be is here and now. You bring that into the present. That's how you reconcile anything in the past. You don't leave it in the past. You make it now. You make it here. You make it now. And you say, what do I prefer to get out of this experience that I have brought into my present?
So what's changed now that one wouldn't manifest something horrible like that for themselves?
Your willingness and awareness that you are in charge of choosing what you prefer.
So it's by being more conscious now, you don't have to create that. Whereas before, perhaps you just decided to have the ride and have the experience?
Yes, but this is the transformational age wherein you are made aware that you can bring every so-called past incident into the present.
And heal it or do whatever you want to do with it, huh?
Yes. Would you stand up on your chair for a moment? Are you doing it?
Yes.
All right. Now, don't do this, but listen to me.
Okay.
Let's say I asked you to simply fall backwards. Would you choose to do it?
At this very moment?
Yes. Would you choose to do it?
No, I would not.
All right. Why not?
Because I'd get hurt.
All right. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Is that easy?
Yes.
Because I'm conscious.
You are bringing the choice that you had about the idea of consequences in one situation that you call the past into the present, and you're saying, let's see, am I going to choose to do that now? No, I don't think so.
No, I definitely have made that choice. I am not
Then
doing
sit
that.
down and stop worrying. It's that simple. There is nothing there that has power to make you fall over backwards and hurt yourself. It is time for you to awaken to the fact that it's all in your hands to choose. No matter what has happened in the past, no matter what you think might happen in the future, the whole point is to be in the present and simply know that the choices you make are it. That's what it's all about. What you choose is what you are. That's who you are, period. If you don't prefer what you have chosen, learn from what you have chosen, accept it, respect it, and then choose what you prefer based on what you have learned from choosing what you don't prefer. That's it. It's that simple. If you are willing to let it be. But that's up to you too, because that's another choice. That's all there is. Choice. Oh no! It's the age of choice.
There's so many different things to choose from.
Yes! That is exactly correct. That's why everything is coming out in the open, everything is coming out of the woodwork, everything is being put on the table. That's why there are so many negative, positive choices in so many different directions, because this is the age of choice. Choose thou.
Oh, I am.
That's what that means. Choose thou.
Oh.
It means you have nothing but choice. That's all there has ever been. That's all there will ever be. Reality is choice. That's it. The choices you make are your reality. Your reality is nothing but the choices you make. Never has been anything else. Never will be. That's it. Choose thou is the doctrine from the infinite Creator, meaning you are free, ultimately, utterly, infinitely free. Choose thou.
It sounds like choose myself, too.
Yes. Choose thou. And then you will know what thou needs to choose. Because when you choose thou, when you choose you will see that you contain all you need to choose. You are a complete kit.
Yeah, it really is a matter of trusting that part of myself much more fully. That bigger, expanded version of myself.
Yes. And being that bigger, expanded version, and not necessarily seeing it as a bigger, expanded version, just seeing it as the you prefer to be and not really making a comparison. That's the point. Stop making comparisons. All of you, stop making comparisons. Look at the little measuring stick. Oh yes, I measure this comparison better than, more than. Stop making comparisons. Just be who you prefer to be. It's as simple as that. Period. Exclamation point. Yes.
I sort of experienced my higher self similar to you all in the sense that it knows where the pins are.
Yes.
And its agenda.
However,
of
remember, please remember, do not give me more abilities than I actually exhibit. I know where the pins are when I need to know. I don't know until I need to know. I have no idea where any of your pins are right now, except the one I need to know about at this moment.
What difference does it make?
It doesn't. That's the point. You get it? I don't know anything until I need to know it. Then I know it. But until I need to know it, I don't know it. That's the point.
So how does one learn to love and trust that aspect of
Learn?
yourself? Yes.
One already loves and trusts. Don't you get it? It's just a question of what are you loving and trusting in. You already love and trust. Don't you get it? We have said it countless times. You don't need to learn to love. You don't need to learn to trust. You've got it already. You always do it. The question is, what do you love? What do you trust?
I love the intelligence.
Then be intelligent. And love yourself.
I do love a psychological thriller on
Thank you, I know. Then that's what you get. That's all there is to it. You all love, you all trust, all of you. All of you love and trust, but you are taught definitions, and you believe in those definitions, and you place your love and your trust in those definitions. But everything any of you do, even murder, is because you're doing what you think, what you have been taught to believe is the act, the only act you know how to do that expresses the idea of wanting to reach out and connect. But that may be the only way you have been taught to do it. When you understand that many of you have been taught destructive behaviors as your expression of attempting to connect to the love of the infinite, you will then realize you have a choice between destructive and constructive behaviors. But most of you, many of you, are not taught the difference. But it doesn't mean you don't love. It simply means you only have one kind of technique to express that love in, and it is only the destructive side. That's the difference.
Discerning better and better when you're involved in that as opposed to positive expression.
Yes. Choice.
I like
choice.
Choice.
I now choose to say to each and every one of you, once again, our deep and profound appreciation in allowing our civilization to interact through this gateway and in this manner at this time and on this day. We thank you for the loving gift you give to us, for it is a gift beyond comprehension to us and beyond words, so I will simply say good day.